Experience the essence of role-playing by being a game detective in a cyberpunk world.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kieran and today we're going to be chatting about Gamedec, an upcoming cyberpunk RPG coming out later this year. So last week Anshar Studios sent me a Steam key to a preview build of Gamedec, which was roughly like an hour or so long and had me playing one case from the game. It's actually the case you see in many of the promo demos of Gamedec as well, called Twisted and Perverted. I was actually considering recording like a casual let's play video of the preview build, but I figured that would be kinda boring because everyone would be dead in that. So, you know what? I played it, I recorded it, and so you'll be seeing that on in the background as I talk about my thoughts and impressions on the preview itself and what my personal experience was like based on the decisions I made in the game. So the start of the preview had us wake up in our apartment and greeted by the developer themselves, that gave us a basic rundown of the game mechanics and who our character was. I assume we weren't like right in the middle of the game, so I didn't get to go through the full character creation at the start, but I was given a choice of what profession I wanted to go down. There was like a few others, you know, the medic one, the hacker one, but I chose one called Sleeves, which gave me the backstory that I grew up in the shitty part of the town, the lower city, and lived a criminal life before becoming a Gamedec. This meant that I knew how to talk to criminals and know the lingo of the criminal underworld and things like that, which actually came in handy later on in the game. I didn't spend much time in the apartment because it was a tiny little thing, nothing much there, but it seems to act like more of a hub area between cases, because when I took a case from the computer it teleported me like from the apartment straight to where the case was. Which I do hope there is a bit more in terms of exploration instead of just teleporting between levels and stuff like that. Because Warsaw City does look really cool, and the whole cyberistic things of the city just look really cool. So even if it's just like a single street I could walk down later in the future, that'd be great. I would love to just go to the shop and, you know, just talk to someone. And that someone being like, oh, by the way, I have a case for you. And I'm like, oh, a case you say, for a game deck? I will absolutely take it. So I must admit, I'll be completely honest and transparent here, I was kind of expecting to be bored when playing this. I wasn't expecting to like it. Like, I'm interested in the world, I'm interested in basically the entire concept of this game, but I just had that feeling before diving into it that I was going to be just bored playing it and I would be wanting to finish it just to finish it instead of playing it just to enjoy it. Although I am pleased to report that I was not bored at all throughout this demo, and I did get bloody hooked while playing it. The Twisted and Perverted case itself was interesting enough, but the fact that it was all down to you in terms of connecting the dots and gathering evidence was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. The game made me feel like a true detective. Oh, and don't get me wrong, by the way, I was a pretty terrible detective. I was missing evidence left, right and centre and making deductions purely based on my own personal hunches. Which, by the way, for the most part, my hunches worked out perfectly. Like, I was spot on with a lot of shit. Like, at the start of the case, we were trying to figure out where this mob boss's kid went in a simulation booth, what game he dove into. So I discovered when he went in with a friend and a lady of the night, yes, who was also stuck in a simulation right next to him, but not in one way, like, she wasn't in a game or anything like that, she was in fact just, like, floating around this weird virtual void and paralysed and she couldn't do anything. Also, by the way, just another little quick heads up, I did roleplay as a massive dickhead in this game, so that will lead me into making some questionable and interesting decisions. So while talking to Scarlet, you know, the lady of the night, I found out that the son went into like a GTA 18 plus style game called Twisted and Perverted, which with him being a minor became quite a problem for the father. But yeah, like, I was talking to this girl and she was quite panicky. She was like quite upset that she's stuck in this constant state, and I was trying to help her initially. I was like, yeah, do you know what, I promise you I'll get you out here, just give me the information I need, because without information I can't help you. So I got the information I need. There was like this weird like virtual attack on the server, and this attack was trying to block me from talking to this girl, and I had like a choice. I was like, okay, I can either try to help you, but if I fail, I can like fuck up your brain like entirely, or I can just back out. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna back out. I'm just not gonna deal with this situation. I was paid to find the son, not paid to find you. So I backed the fuck out. And I was like, do you know what? I have the information I need. He is in Twisted and Perverted. I told the father. The father's like, hey, you can take that booth over there. And I'm like, yep, let's go. And the funny thing is, I kind of forgot about the girl later on down the line. I completely forgot about her. I don't even know if she's still stuck in that simulation or not. No idea. In terms of like connecting the dots and me missing evidence, I did mention that there was the son's friend. The son's friend was also in that room, but I just sort of jumped to the conclusion like straight away that I completely missed out on talking to the friend. It could have gave me some valuable information during the case. It would have made me like skip so much lingo during it as well. But anyway, I jumped into the simulation, which led me into a dark, murky street filled with questionable but funky characters. My favourite character there was this, it was this guy. It was like this furry that convinced himself that he was a unicorn, even though his player skin was like a horse, but with like a horn strapped on, like a party hat or something. It just turns out he was like this pure weird ass troll in the game. Honestly, when first seeing this, I was caught right off guard. I was expecting this to be like a hardened, dead serious, drama-filled detective game, and the first thing I see when I go into one of these virtual worlds is a horse trying to be a unicorn. And so if you interact with him, he'll be like, hey, do you want to see a magic trick? And I'm like, yes, I would love to see a magic trick. And he will get you to pick a card, and when you pick a card, you will both blow up. Yeah, you both die. It was interesting. So I took that experience, took that knowledge, right? And then later on down the line, later on in the level, I came across these two people who were like just about to make this deal, just about to make this business transaction. And then the unicorn appeared right in front of them, and they both were like, oh, what the fuck? Who the hell is this? And then I egged them both on to interact with the unicorn and do exactly what I did before. And then they both blew up, and then it completely ruined the deal because the other guy got spooked and he ran away. So the other guy that was there completely hates me now. In terms of the location as well, the virtual world I was in, it felt quite small. Like it was only a tiny little street with nothing really in it. But I didn't have a massive problem with this because the street was packed filled with characters, so it felt quite large. You can meet a developer of another game that you can play in the in-game deck called Harvest Time, who is in Twisted and Perverted because he needs help looking for his wife, who apparently has a bit of kinkiness to her. So yeah, it's a bit weird, and so that gives you an optional objective to try and find this guy's wife. And I'll admit, I didn't find the wife because I got distracted. I won't give any specific story details into the case if you want to go in blind, but the case had you slowly piece together what happened with his son and his friend and the Lady of the Night, and what caused his son to be stuck in the game. You piece all this stuff together by simply just talking to NPCs, but some characters might ask for a favour in exchange for information, which adds more side objectives. My favourite part of this game though is just the freedom of choice. Like, if I wanted to act like a complete and utter tool, I could do just that. At one point, I even allowed myself to be drugged by an old guy who stole a bunch of my personal data. Like, I knew, like, I looked at him and I was looking at the dialogue and I'm like, yeah, I know what's going to happen here, but I'm going to do it anyway. And yeah, it was so bizarre and so funny. I loved it. There is a few parts of this preview that had me completely rolling in laughter, just because of the decisions I made. Like, one example, I went down this alleyway and then I was just sort of examining everything I came across, and there was this bin, right? There was this random dumpster, and I clicked interact, and then they said, oh, there's a mine in there. And I'm like, oh, mine? Can I trigger it? You can trigger it, and you can blow yourself up. Like, it's just, okay, yeah, you can blow yourself up, and because it's a game, you can respawn back at the respawn area, back at the entrance. Which later in the preview, later down the line, I got stuck in that very same alleyway and you had to try and find a way to escape. And my first thought was, to the mine? to the mine to blow myself up in order to escape. Yes, of course, that is the perfect thing. Another part which I loved was the lack of combat, which is really strange to say because, like, in all of these sort of isometric RPGs, you always get that turn-based typical combat. But in this game, you don't have that. You don't have like turn-based combat that takes you out of the experience. What you do have is the option just to kill people. That's about it. Across this demo, right, there was many options where it gives you like, oh, you can just shoot this guy in the face. And it just shoots him in the face. Like, that's it, like, no fuss, no hassle, you can just kill people, and then that's it. Like, take this for example, when I came upon this guy called Ken, who asked for my help in getting rid of this dodgy guy that was annoying him. One of the options I had straight away was either shoot Ken, the guy asking for help, or shoot the guy annoying them. And then there was two other options which I can't remember. And so I'm like, okay, I'll solve your problems with a gun. Just shot the guy, no questions asked. And funnily enough, when I shot the guy annoying them, Ken helped me and actually became my sidekick from the remainder of the case and became like my companion who followed me around. One brilliant result of him being my companion was later on when I had to earn points to get inside of a building, and the best way to get points was to kill people. Ken was like, yeah, just shoot me. You can, just shoot me in the heart. Yeah, go do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Alright then. So for the next minute or two, he just kept dying, respawning, and it happened like 5 or 6 times or something like that. And it was brilliant until like I had enough points to go in and he was like, yeah, you did it. I'm like, you were completely fine with me just killing you over and over and over again. You are a proper champ right there. If you can't tell already, and I'll be completely honest here, this entire preview demo has completely sold me on Gamedec. You would think that a game that doesn't really have much in terms of gameplay mechanics, like it has a deduction, it has an aspect screen, it has like a codex of sorts, that's all you really have. And with only just having those basics, it's really good. It's insanely good. The player has so much freedom in approaching cases. You can literally deduct and solve a case with the bare minimum, but you have a chance of getting it completely wrong or you have a chance of getting it completely right, and it's fantastic. And there's also a choice of having it like in between. Maybe you may have got some bits wrong or you may have got some bits right. Like my twisted and perverted case ended with my character not getting payment because I left the kid trapped in the game and allowed the dad to be blackmailed by a hacker who was keeping his son hostage. I literally left the situation, told the dad, hey, you're being blackmailed, and then just left. And then later on there was a cutscene. The cutscene was like, ah yes, I woke up the next day and I did not receive payment. I did not receive anything in the bank. And it's like, yeah, of course you didn't receive anything in the bank. You achieved fuck all. The fact that you can advance the game and completely F up cases is amazing, because I feel like in other detective games, right? Other detective games I've played are oddly linear in their approach, and they'd sort of just steer you in the sort of same endgame direction. But in Gamedec it just isn't the case, or at least what the impressions I'm getting from the preview build I just got there. Maybe the rest of the game isn't like that, maybe it's just this early on case, you never know. But I have full faith, just from playing it and just from seeing the gameplay, just from seeing the articles and stuff like that, that most of the game is like this, and I think I can't wait to play it. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, I actually might stream this game. I might stream this game when it comes out because it's bloody brilliant. And again, just for like transparency as well, I just want to thank Anshar Studios for letting me play the preview build. I just want to bear in mind as well, I didn't get a final copy of the game or anything like that. I just got a build that was sent out to Kickstarters and was sent out to press as well. In the build, in terms of like technical flaws or anything like that, the only thing I really found was grammar mistakes, and then that was about it. Like, yeah, okay, that's cool, that's easy fix. But there wasn't any like game-breaking bugs or anything like that. There wasn't any crashes, there was nothing like that. The game ran like butter. So if you're interested in checking out more of Gamedec, I'll leave a link to the Steam store down in the description below. So that is me for today. What do y'all think of Gamedec? Are you waiting for more gameplay, or are you already sold on the game? Let me know down in the comments below. Special thanks to my lovely wee patrons, Cat G, Proxy1, Enigma Plays 115, and TG Monster for your continued support over my Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I do really appreciate it. So yeah, Gamedec. I love it. Can't wait to play more. And again, thank you all for watching the video. I do appreciate it. The next video coming up is Fallout Mods Update, so stay tuned for that. And I shall be seeing you all in the next one. Bye bye.